Hey everybody, welcome back to the Adoption Squad. I'm Mary.
I'm Annie.
How's everybody doing? It is National Adoption Week. Did you know that, Annie?
I didn't know that until you told me.
Yeah,
Mary.
pretty exciting how it relates to our show, huh?
Yeah.
So, I think we're just going to get right into it because if we talk about anything that's going on in the world right now, I think my brain's going to explode.
Let's focus on our topic.
Yeah, let's
the world at large.
Exactly. Although, did you have any sort of new recommendations for this week? Because weeks ago you had recommended a book. Can you remind us what that was called?
Yeah, I'll just remind you of that book because I've been dipping into it again. Journey of the Adopted Self, A Quest for Wholeness by Betty Jean Lifton. I'm not getting any kickbacks from Betty Jean. I've never met her. I just think this book is very thoughtful and helpful to anyone who is thinking about searching for their biological parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's an examination of just what it means to be adopted psychologically, socially, physically, even really, and gets into the why search and what to think about while you're searching and a little bit about how to search.
Mm-hmm.
Great book.
So I will definitely be checking that out because I myself have not read it. And I like to take what other people recommend and take a look for myself. So
yeah. And interestingly enough,
Mm-hmm.
So before I found my biological mother, she read this book too. She read it.
No way.
Of me finding her, it was on her bookshelf.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
She just wanted perspective herself on if this daughter ever finds me, I'll have some insight into what's been going on for her.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
Right?
Wow. That's really a connection that you put together after the fact and you just kind of, your mind is absolutely blown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's very cute because her book has like receipts from some farmer's market in it.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
It's adorable.
Wow.
It's a bookmark.
Well, hey, we all have to put something in those pages or
That's right.
fold down a corner or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we decided that this week we were going to start talking about what made us search for our biological families in the first place.
Right. And as I've been thinking about it, I kind of thought my story is going to be long and deep. And then you said your story is going to be
probably a little more concise. But you never know because I have been told that I have the gift of gab. But I guess mine is a little more short and maybe less intense, put it that way.
Right. Our backgrounds are a bit different. So we'll start with you this week, Mary.
Okay. Well, so do you want to...
Why did you decide to search for your biological family?
Well, it wasn't really in the forefront of my mind. I was 25 years old.
Okay.
And my sister, who I grew up with, who is also adopted, she decided she was going to go ahead and do an adoption search. She had just had her sons and wanted to basically have some sort of medical history.
Oh, so, good. You answered my question about that. Why did you
Right. So I had just gotten out of my first real relationship and I didn't know what the future was going to hold. So I thought, in the event that I ever settled down or had kids, I would probably want to know that information as well. Well, based off of what happened with my sister's search, I knew I had to prepare myself for the worst and for the best. So
was hers a bad kind of story, a bad outcome, or
it had some elements of tragedy.
oh,
So basically, in a nutshell, she found out that her mother was deceased at the time of her search, but that she was given up for adoption as her birth mother was a teenager, probably all of 16, I believe it was.
oh wow.
And her parents concealed it from everyone around her and basically said, this is your option. This is the one.
Right.
So she was forced to give her up for adoption. And she actually had a name. And it turned out that the bio mom, really, really wanted to keep her, but the parents were just kind of like, no.
Yeah, that's
no
happened
dice.
so often.
Mm-hmm.
So often.
Yeah. And I think that must have been really difficult for her because especially when you name something, as we all know, it becomes very personal to you. So, yeah. So she had to surrender my sister. And then throughout the course of her life, she had 4 more children. And sometime in her later 30s, she developed an illness and got very sick and ended up passing away.
Oh, that's so sad.
Right. So 2 of the kids, I think, went to a neighbor and the other 2 went to grandparents, I believe.
Oh, so there wasn't a father involved?
No.
Sometimes the fathers just don't want to handle it. So,
and I'm not really sure of those circumstances, and I don't want to blow the top off of her story as it is, but as it appeared, her biological mother wasn't the kind of person to really settle down.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but my sister was able to contact her grandmother.
Okay.
And a couple of the half siblings. Mm-hmm. And they seemed to connect for maybe a few months.
Okay.
And I believe one of them was incarcerated actually for something, and I'm not positive on what that was. But that the kids were pretty much excited about being found, and the grandmother was also happy about it. I believe the grandfather is deceased at that point, but yeah. And then once the excitement wore off, that relationship was just over. So,
okay, so she didn't continue.
So yeah, so it just kind of, is exciting. But she did find out, hey, it was a cancer. I believe it might have been a breast cancer. So she would have to look out for that.
And her mother was so young.
Mm-hmm.
When she got,
yeah. So my sister's now 50. So I'm hoping she's taking all the necessary precautions, but it kind of lit a fire under me. And so I just decided, this is going to be my reason, or this is going to be something I have to do.
Okay. Now, can I ask you, did your adoptive parents support this search, or were they aware?
Well, here was the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
They were not aware that she was doing that. So it did become an issue.
Did it? Okay.
It was an issue for a little bit. And then I think once they realized that she had found out this information about her health, that maybe it wasn't quite so bad. I think that my mom, adoptive mother, and we have to consider this too, adoptive mothers always think that their kid is going to go away.
Oh, yeah, not always, but they do. They feel, it's natural to feel threatened because your kid's searching for another parent.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it's just how they handle it. So because your sister's search created some turmoil, that did she break ground for you?
Yeah.
Your own search?
Just like everything else. She absolutely broke that ground for me because it's just like, with older siblings, by the time they get to you, when you're old enough, they're exhausted, the parents. So they just kind of want to go, kind of raise yourself.
Yeah. Do that too. All right, we have already been.
I'm done.
We're over the whole turmoil with that. So
yeah,
you didn't have to deal with the kind of threatened attitude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I think the second time I was able to basically sit down and say, "Hey, I am not looking to form relationships here, but I am concerned for my medical history since now we know that can be an issue. I want to know." And
we're upfront about it.
Yes, definitely upfront about it. And I think it made all the difference.
Yeah.
So just prepping and saying, look, I'm not looking to replace you. There isn't a replacement possible.
Oh, that's nice.
At least, in my household, I was not setting out to do that. Mm-hmm. But that was the whole reason I searched, just because somebody else went first and I couldn't live with that mystery. And I'd always kind of been curious.
Covered some serious health issues too. Mm-hmm. So those are good to be aware of.
Yeah. And I wasn't going to take any chances. And probably in later episodes, we might disclose some of those health issues that I uncovered, a couple of lovely ones. But, I think it's better, at least in my situation, to have taken that step. And I knew how to go about it based off of my sister's experience.
Oh, okay. So yours was like an open search. Family was there, mm-hmm. and you were doing it mainly for health reasons. Mm-hmm. Were there any other reasons, though? I mean, like, I have, but yours was just specifically for health? Mostly.
I also kind of wanted to prove to my family that Sonny and Cher were my real parents.
That's awesome, because you do kind of have Cher's hair. I mean, for people who don't.
Do I?
Pictures. No, you have that straight.
Well, it's not.
Okay. You
right. So I would clearly take after Sonny. And I'm also short, so. But I really, really wanted it to be them.
I think you have Cher's attitude, so you're good.
Yeah. I thank you.
Yeah,
I will say thank you.
And you own your life.
Yeah. So, but ladies and gentlemen, they are not my biological parents. So, bummer, but it was definitely an adventure from beginning to now, and it's been over 20 years now since this whole search started for me, and there's still a lot of things I don't know, but a lot of things I found out. I happened to have a brother-in-law at the time that helped with my sister's adoption search, and mm-hmm. he had some connections that I guess the rest of us don't have or didn't at the time. Consider this, 20 years ago, the internet was not a widely used tool as it is today. Not everyone had computers, and it took 5 years for you to just use that dial-up anyway.
Right. That sound.
Right. Oh, it's so awful. And then someone would get on the phone and then
cut you off.
You get cut off. So yes. So now you can, now you can recognize my struggle. So, but he was more than happy to take this on. And he was part of law enforcement.